Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here with a special episode for you today. This is Mr. Dan Danielson. I'm Reece, and we will be...
I don't know what that was. I apologize.
We will be predicting the next WWE champions. That's it. That's the episode.
That's what the episode is?
That's the episode. I don't know what else to say. Let's just get right into it.
Okay. So are we going to be pitching? We're just going to pitch who we think is the next person. Are we going to pitch the storyline to get there? We're going to pitch.
Yeah, somewhat.
Okay.
I've prepped a bit. Depending on how quickly on the fly you can come up with some good theories, mate.
That's what I'm best at.
Go for it. But I'm going to quickly rapid fire some of mine.
All right.
Because I've got a general idea, but I don't have like a full 2-month story laid out or anything.
Okay. So
Starting at the top, WWE Championship. Currently held by Mr. 17, John Cena.
Okay.
Who will be dethroned at the end of the year in his very final performance by Cody Rhodes.
You think he's going to hold the title all year long?
All year long. I think we kind of saw hints of it at Backlash of this heel John Cena being enraged with the people. Kind of the veil sort of broke and tore a little bit at Backlash. You could see there was a little bit of sadness in his face. I feel like at some point there's going to be a switch that happens. He can still be champion. But there's going to be a switch and he will end the year as a face. And Cody will just come for revenge. He'll dye his hair dark like he did in AEW.
Okay.
He'll come back with an attitude. He'll dethrone John Cena.
I agreed that I think Cody has the title back.
But do you think he gets back sooner?
Well, I don't think John holds the title all year.
I think 8 months.
I think that he turns face before probably around SummerSlam, and the last few months is back to John Cena being John Cena.
Is this why we have John Cena and R-Truth booked? So they can use that as a bit of leverage to get this John Cena turn, because he's going to have a match with R-Truth. He's going to start beating him up, and then he's going to
realize it's his childhood hero.
Yeah.
And
I'm this guy's childhood hero.
Yep.
And he's going to have that remorse, and that's going to be the catalyst for that change.
Yes. I think this is the start, right? Like you said that, like you saw with the match with Randy, like it was such a good match. It was a big tie back, and then he had to cheat to win. And John knows it. And then at the end of that match, when he was hearing that crowd and everyone, like he showed signs of remorse. Yeah. And I think that the truth match is going to be the same, is that he's going to beat up his person that was always saying never give up. And I think Truth, if you saw that interview that he had with Wade Barrett, was like he's just so determined that is not who John Cena is.
That wasn't John Cena.
It's not John, right? John Cena is, never give up. He's hustle, loyalty, respect. He's everyone's childhood hero. He's a Make-A-Wish guy. And I think like Cena will be beating him up, and Truth will just keep saying, this isn't you, this isn't you. And this will be the first crack that shows on that heel character. So I think that probably gets him to turn face, but you're going to need him to lose to a bigger heel than he is for him to turn it around and to get the sympathy from the crowd. And I couldn't think of anybody for a while until we watched SmackDown this week, and they had the Money in the Bank qualifiers, and Solo Sikoa qualified. And now I am going to pitch that Solo Sikoa wins the Money in the Bank and cashes in on John Cena. Because none of us want that to happen. John tried to put over Solo a couple of years ago when Solo beat him down with the 5 thumbs and he couldn't talk, right? Yeah. So John clearly likes Solo. He clearly wants to put him over. We know how much WWE have always invested in this Bloodline story, and if the Bloodline's not somewhere around one of the major titles, something's going wrong. Here is your chance to give it to Solo, to put heat on Solo for beating John Cena, which nobody would want to happen. Nobody would think would happen, and there's no way you would book Solo versus John for the world title one-on-one to happen unless Solo had a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Ooh, I like this.
So I'm going to pick Solo Sikoa.
Something different. I like it. Awesome. Moving on to the World Heavyweight Championship, currently held by Usi Juicy Jey Uso.
Can I also say Solo Sikoa can cash in on Jey Uso?
You want to run with it?
Hedge my bets. You could take either one.
Oh, I wouldn't be mad with that either, because that's a compelling story to tell as well.
Yeah, bet out your brother.
Yeah, exactly. Boom, done. My pick's Seth Rollins.
My pick is also Seth Rollins.
Yes, we've got a very interesting theory around that and the Money in the Bank briefcase. Go check out our episode from, I think by the time this goes out, last week's episode number 70.
Yeah, because we didn't make a big enough deal about being episode 69.
Unfortunately, the boat has sailed on that one. Check out episode 70. We've got an interesting theory about Seth Rollins' heavyweight championship and the Money in the Bank contract. But yeah, I think that's a dead given.
I think it has to happen.
It's not going to Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event.
No,
which
I don't want it to go
would
back
have passed by the time we put this out.
I don't want to go back to Gunther.
Nah, seeing Gunther and Jay again, I don't see the relevance in that. I'm not excited for that.
No.
So yeah.
I think it's Seth. I think that if you are going to try and pitch this story that they are the vision and that the whole of the wrestling world and everything goes through them, they need the title.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that Seth getting it is the logical play.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the Women's World Championship. I think we're both on the same boat as this. Rhea Ripley via cashing in Money in the Bank
Money in the Bank.
Sky. So that's all that needs to be discussed for that. She gets into the Money in the Bank. She wins it. She cashes in on Io to finally beat her.
Yep.
Where sometime in the next few months, my prediction, Dan thinks it's going to be a little bit more of a longer run as Miss Money in the Bank, Mommy in the Bank for Rhea Ripley.
Oh, by longer run, I mean like a couple of months, just not a week or two.
Well, yeah, like we've got Money in the Bank 8th of June Australian time.
Something like that, yep.
I think SummerSlam.
Well, that's 2 months.
2 months.
That's about right.
Yeah, I think that's my pick. SummerSlam, Rhea Ripley walks out, Women's World Champion.
Sure.
The WWE Women's Championship. Now, mine factors in a draft to happen sometime soon. And my pick, after losing the Women's Tag Team Championships, is Liv Morgan.
Liv to beat Tiffy.
Liv to beat Tiffy.
Okay.
Dan's two favourite people.
Well, we've added Liv, if you haven't noticed, to the
she's
set.
looking over Dan's shoulder.
The lights a
and
little.
let's give a shout out to that shirt in the picture as well.
Which is also Rhea.
The Rhea crying at SummerSlam from last year. And I just love the way that the shirt is creased right on Mommy's face and she looks like a disfigured ogre.
That's perfect.
Hilarious.
So
I love it.
I will go against your pick here, and I will say that the next WWE Women's Champion is going to be Naomi.
Okay. Well,
I think that's the story they've been telling for a while. Her being in the background of this whole Tiffy and Nia feud they've had for the last few weeks. Her and Jade, the match they had at WrestleMania, the way they've kind of positioned that feud to be Tiffy adjacent the whole time. I think Jade is probably going to be a world champion soon.
Just not yet.
And I would like to see her get that world champion and then have Bianca come back to go against her.
Yeah, that'd be a really good feud.
But I can't see Jade and Tiffy as two faces going off against each other. I think that you need a heel in the middle to transition that across.
That's why I didn't list Jade.
And I think that Tiffy drops it to Naomi, and Naomi can hold it for a little bit, drop it to Jade, and then next year's WrestleMania is your Jade and Bianca for the women's title match.
Genius. Love it. I almost put Naomi down, but that was just something I was trying to think of, like main card heels in the women's division, which there's not a lot of at the moment. Don't want to put the belt. No, don't want to put the belt back on Nia. I was iffy about putting Naomi up there.
What about Piper Niven?
No.
Okay.
No.
What about
before you even say anyone? No.
BFAB?
not a heel.
Maxine Dupree.
Stop. We're going to move on to the mid-card titles now for the United States Championship.
So Jacob Fatu's
Currently,
title.
yes. I'm pitching Solo dethrones Jacob Fatu at SummerSlam, which goes completely against your Money in the Bank theory.
Yeah, it kind of ruins that whole plan for it.
But that's my plan.
I think your plan is the more logical decision here.
Yeah, that's why I went with it. It's kind of an easy one to talk about.
I think that makes sense. But if we're not going to go that plan, and I'm going to stick to my Solo wins Money in the Bank and takes John Cena out, I think Drew McIntyre is the one to then beat Jacob Fatu eventually. I think that...
Get that Grand Slam championship.
Yep. I think the Grand Slam championship needs to happen. I think that he will effectively elevate that US title belt. Although Jacob is right now, I don't think he's doing a bad job. I think he's doing a really good job with it. But I think someone of Drew's caliber just lifts it up a notch.
A little bit more.
Tiny bit more.
In a respectful way, I completely agree with that.
So I think that Drew would be a good US title champion for a little while. He can put on bangers against a bunch of people. And then, I think that's probably an effective way of doing it and allowing Jacob to then get involved with the solo stuff, either in my situation as the world champion or just as a bloodline v bloodline type match that he can have. So I'm going to pitch Drew McIntyre.
All right. I like that.
Thanks,
you
man.
got some pretty good ideas sometimes.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Intercontinental Championship, currently held by Dirty Dom, Latino Cheat.
The Penta walk? It's
not
Penta.
No, it's not Penta. It is Finn Balor.
You're going Finn.
Finn it to win it.
Got to be Finn it to win it. I like it. Are you pitching this as like he eventually just turns on Dom?
Yes, and then that, because I feel like the Dom face turn is going to become a proper thing.
Yep.
Finn will turn on Dom, and because people are so behind Dom right now, Finn will just naturally become a heel, but then he'll dethrone Dom because he's the vet and he's untouchable in the ring.
Don't talk about our boy Finn like that, okay?
He's got the real story.
He's got the real story to finish. I like that theory, and I think that's probably the logical choice. But I am going to put in a different person that also, I'm clearly pitching Grand Slam champions today. That's the mood that I'm in, obviously. I'm going to pick Sheamus.
Sheamus.
I think we all wanted...
He's got to get it.
We all wanted him to win it.
39.
At 39. We all wanted him to get it at some point previously when he was up against Gunther and stuff and Braun, and he never got it. He put on those bangers with Pete Dunne. I think Sheamus is a fantastic person to take advantage of Finn turning on Dom and not having Finn win the title and causing something to happen, and then Sheamus beats Dom for it.
Okay.
And then you can just have him put bangers on with literally everybody in that division.
And then we can go back to a classic Survivor Series where we have champions versus champions. And then we get Drew versus Sheamus again.
Oh, could you imagine?
Champion versus champion. Oh, sign me up.
Yeah.
Much as I like war games sometimes, can we please just like pivot away from that for a couple of years and bring the 5-on-5 classics back?
It got to a point, I think, with war games, kind of like the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, was that...
I think the last year's one, it kind of put me over the edge.
Yeah, because they made a War Games match because they had to have a War Games match. It wasn't that a feud needed a War Games to finish it.
They needed a feud
for War
Games.
And that's how they kind of ruined Hell in a Cell for a few years, was that like the pay-per-view was coming up, so let's just put these two guys in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, their first ever match together. Let's put them in a Hell in a Cell.
So that didn't work, and I think they've shifted away from it. And I think do the same with War Games. I also really enjoy like elimination tag matches.
Yeah.
Like 10 people out there means you're going to get like 7 or 8 different pinfalls in a match.
That one against the Authority with Dolph Ziggler and Sting debuting.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's a classic, man. It's a classic.
So what do we say? I've said Sheamus.
Sheamus for the IC title.
Yeah, okay. And then we somehow went on to War Games, but whatever.
Women's Intercontinental Championship. I've got Becky.
It's got to be Becky.
Becky's got to dethrone Lyra.
Yeah.
However Bayley works into that, whether she comes and faces Becky afterwards to
I think so. Yeah.
defend Lyra's honor, or whether there's some sort of heel turn, Bayley will come into play at some point during that. Women's United States Championship, I'm pitching Charlotte because I've pitched this. We've pitched this.
We have
for months and months and months, having 2 top tier women's talent. As much as I hate to say that and Charlotte in the same sentence right now, with how she's been the last couple of months. Having 2 top-tier women talent hold those mid-card titles to give what Seth did for the World Heavyweight Champion when that came back. Yes. What he did for that title, they need to now do for the Women's Mid-Card Championships.
Yep.
Big matches, important feuds, elevate that, give it prestige.
So I'm going to go against you, again, mainly because of this episode of SmackDown that we just watched and talked about.
Yeah.
I like the premise of Charlotte doing exactly what you said. But I feel like if they do that at the same time as Becky's doing it for the IC title, it's kind of like the same thing.
People are going to click onto it and then they'll boo Charlotte even
Correct.
worse.
So I think you need to do it with Becky first.
And then Charlotte
later. Then Charlotte later, so that they're not doing the same thing with the mid-card titles at the same time, right? Which means that somebody else has to beat Zelina, and it's not going to go back to Chelsea. And I pitched this on our last episode. Link in the description. Go have a look at that.
Number 70.
Give us a like and a subscribe, please. I reckon Julia. I think Julia's going to come up. She's going to fail in her Money in the Bank match because of something with Charlotte. But that match will also have some spots between her and Zelina. I think that's going to put a little bit of a tie in there. And I think that
Which just writes itself.
She was a champion in NXT. She was obviously a champion in Stardom. She's a brilliant wrestler. I think she could put some really good matches on and get the IWC wrestling crowd behind that mid-card title. Because I think your casual fan and your normal WWE fan would be either for or against Charlotte and happy to see that.
Yeah.
But I think the IWC would be like, you're giving me Julia as a champion and she can put on matches with Charlotte
take my money.
and with Chelsea and with whoever else you want. That to me is enticing. So I'm going to say Julia to win your US title.
I like that. I dig that. All right, we're going to move on to the tag team championships now from all...
Do we have to?
Well, both brands and then the women's one. So I think the women's one is the one that I had the most trouble with for obvious reasons.
I've got the women's one.
You got the women's?
Yep.
Well, you kick this one off.
Yep. Retire them.
Probably not a bad idea. Like
I'm not joking. There's just not enough women's tag teams.
Or just take them back down to NXT.
Drop them to NXT.
This was my initial point that I put down, but then changed it.
Okay.
Was Fatal Influence.
Sure. I'm all fine for that. Go for them.
Well, I wrote down Damage Control. Kyrie and Asuka come back.
I think we said this before that it feels sad that's where Asuka is now. Is like, oh, maybe she comes back as a tag team. She was a women's Royal Rumble winner.
Do you reckon they'll just bring them back on their own? They'll just like...
No, they'll come back together for sure.
No. I just meant like Damage Control is just done.
Oh, they'll just be the Kabuki Warriors.
Well, yeah. Bring them back separately.
No, I don't think they bring them back separately. Because if they did, I think Kyrie would have come back already. Because I think she's healthy,
fit. Yeah.
Whereas Asuka's not. So if they're holding Kyrie back for Asuka...
Yeah, okay, that's a valid point.
The Kabuki Warriors are returning. And if that's the case...
Warriors.
Then, jeez.
I think we're both going to agree on this next one, the Raw Tag Team Championships. The Lucha Brothers.
Yes.
Raw is really lacking in that tag team division, and the current scene right now is just abysmal. Not interesting.
What do you mean? There's the Creed brothers.
Yeah, wow.
There's the War Raiders.
I'll give them credit. They're pretty
There's the New Day.
Yeah.
There's the Creed brothers.
Now it's going around in circles. Yeah. Raw again, pending what happens in the draft, I feel like Lucha Brothers come together after the draft and then they go for the Raw tag.
Absolutely.
Titles.
I think that is a very clear pick of what that should happen in that tag division.
To wrap it up, SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which is one I've put 2 down for because I'm not entirely sold on what's going to happen. First, I have Fraxium at some point, not next week or the SmackDown from a couple days ago, pending when this goes out.
What are you looking at me for? I don't even know.
Well, I think I'm kind of hinting get this one out next week.
Yeah, yes, boss. Gotcha.
I don't think they're going to defeat Street Profits on SmackDown
No.
next week.
No.
Previously.
I think there'll be shenanigans.
Yes, absolutely. So I think they'll be in the running at some point, but I feel like unless a draft changes things up, DIY are next in line. Again. Because SmackDown does not have good tag teams that are heels to take the titles off Street Profits. Pretty Deadly, they're kind of tweeners in a way. People like Pretty Deadly. They're entertaining, but they're meant to be the heels. Legado del Fantasma, they're kind of on the outs. Same with A-Town Down Under. And then you've got Motor City Machine Guns, which I kind of thought about, like, what if they just randomly turn them heel at some point?
Not after DIY turned heel on them.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it was an idea that floated through my head. I was like, hey, they could do that. But then, why would they do that?
Yeah. Look, I don't mind it. The two I'm thinking, and I'm going to throw both of them are probably outsiders at the moment. I would love to see Pretty Deadly win. Because I think that they are undeserving. Well, they are very deserving, of having a title shot. And they've had a few chances. And they had that match in London and stuff before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Huge crowd reactions. I think everybody likes them. But they're just not quite getting over enough because they sort of get a couple of weeks of TV and then they go for a while. They go back and
up and then off.
And, there was the whole Pretty Deadly, the musical that we wanted to see and then we never did. So, I think...
They can work that into the angle as tag team champions.
Correct. I would love to see them win it and then have their tag team celebration the week after as Pretty Deadly the Musical, the tag team championship edition.
That'd be amazing.
So I think that if you wanted and this is the point, if you just want to have fun with this division, right, and you just want to throw something fun out there, all right, Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
The other outside pick that I'm going to choose, because I think your DIY is too logical and obvious, and I don't really like it.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of it.
Mellow Don't Miz.
Oh, I forgot about them. They've been so wrapped up with Aleister Black lately.
Yep. I think that moves on at some point, because I think the Street Profits
I like
and
that.
all the current tag teams can go for long enough where the Street Profits retain for a while. And I think Mellow Don't Miz is a team that... And WWE consistently put faith in the Miz to get titles over.
Yeah.
He had one of the better IC runs a while ago. He obviously won the tag teams with Truth. He's a Grand Slam, double-time Grand Slam champion. Like he despite whether or not you like the Miz or not, he is very, very well respected, and he's very good at what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if you want someone to be chicken shit heels, but also be able to put on good matches to build that division up,
That's them.
Mellow Don't Miz.
Can you imagine? I don't know if they've done it yet, because they haven't really had a tag match yet. But the skull-crushing finale with
him hitting the nothing but net off the top rope.
Oh, what a finisher,
That'd be a
bro.
sick finish.
If you guys haven't thought of that, take my idea, bro. Like, it just writes itself.
That actually would be a sick finisher.
Fuck, I'm good.
Yeah, do it. I'm now fully committed to the Mellow Don't
We're
Miz.
fully on board. Let's quickly roll through back the list, because that was the last one that we had. For the WWE title, I've got Cody Rhodes. Dan has Solo. World Heavyweight Championship, we both have Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Women's World title, we both have Rhea. WWE Women's Championship, I've got Liv Morgan, you've got Naomi.
Yep.
US title, I've got Solo, you've got Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
IC, I've got Finn, you've got
Sheamus.
Sheamus. For the Women's IC, I've got Becky, you've got Becky.
Yep.
Women's United States Championship, I've got Charlotte, you've got Julia.
Yep.
Women's Tag, I've got Damage Control, you've got Retirement.
I think I am the
Fatal
internet
influence.
wrestling community on all of these picks so far.
Raw Tag, we've both got the Lucha Brothers. And SmackDown Tag, we're going with Mellow Don't Miz. I'm changing my vote.
You in?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm on board. Let's go.
Did it. What about the Speed title?
I didn't take those into account, man. God damn it.
I don't care either.
No, we're not doing it.
It's El Grande, isn't it, at the moment, right?
Yeah. So Luchador beats him, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone that's held that title has worn a mask at some point in their career.
Have they?
Maybe it could be Sami Zayn.
He's never worn a mask, though.
Break the veil for a second.
What do you mean break the veil? I don't know what you're talking about. El Generico was his trainer. It's a totally different guy.
Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there.
We'll leave the Speed champions
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
I don't know. And NXT champion will be Joe Hendry by the end of the year, once he re-signs his contract.
Done. What about all the other NXT championships?
No, it's not
We're
gonna
not
go too
doing
far.
that.
No.
We're not doing that. We're wrapping it up there. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know who your predictions for the next WWE champions are in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to go follow all these pages that you see scrolling by you. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Come join our Discord. Be part of the wrestling revolution.
Oh, that was nice.
I don't know if it's mine or not. If someone else has got that, it's mine now.
It is now.
Thank you for tuning in. We have been Down Under the Mat, and we'll see you next time. Too sweet.